Stay tuned for the following special presentation from KOFO 1220 and 103.7 FM. KOFO, your sports source for East Central Kansas, welcomes you to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show on 103.7 FM, 1220, and online at KOFO.com. We invite you to join us live at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa for food and drink specials during the show, as we talk OU Braves and Lady Braves basketball with head coaches Aaron Siebenthal and Bruce Tate. Pizza Time Hoop Talk is brought to you by Ottawa Family Physicians, Lamb Roberts Funeral Home, Pizza Time, and Ottawa University. Now, with this edition of Pizza Time Hoop Talk, here's KOFO's David Potter.
All right, and welcome to Pizza Time Hoop Talk. This is take two, as there were some technical difficulties on my end there, and so you guys didn't hear it. But we actually tried to start the show once, but kind of had a false start there. But we're ready to go now. We've got assistant coach from the men's team for OU, Coach Phil McClintock, here with us tonight. And once again, thanks for being here.
Hey, no problem.
And so what we were talking about, not realizing that we were talking into to dead air at first, is obviously you had a great playing career at OU about 7 or 8 years ago. I think 2010 was your last year, and we were just talking about the differences between playing then and playing now, and how similar or different it is.
Sure. I think the biggest thing for me, it's still the same road trips, going to the schools who have always been in the KCAC. I think adding, especially on the men's side, two good teams in York and Oklahoma Wesleyan. It's always tough to win a 10-team league, tournament or outright, and it just makes it that much tougher adding two quality teams when Oklahoma Wesleyan has won a national championship in the last 10 years, and York has made a run to the Elite Eight and has been receiving votes now and ranked this year, so that makes it pretty tough.
All right, and then it makes it tougher just to make the conference tournament because you've got 4 teams on the outside looking in at the end of the year.
Yeah, that does. I mean, that's obviously you always want to be in the tournament because that gives you a chance to move on to the national tournament if you don't win outright. So, like I said, instead of only 2 teams being out, you're looking at 4 teams, and that's a good portion of the league not being even having a chance to move on. So it's pretty tough.
Right. So we've got a little departure from the normal schedule. You guys had an exhibition game last night playing a D1 school from the NCAA, sure. UMKC, up in Kansas City. Yep. And you guys, it's only an exhibition game, so the win, the loss doesn't count. But you guys were able to hang in there with them pretty well.
We were. We were really, really pleased. I think the intensity our guys brought, from the get-go, and I think they started out 8-0 on us, but we bounced back and tied it up. I think 13-all it was tied, and hadn't had even a chance to take some lead. Shot free throws poorly the whole game, and I think we were down at 9 at halftime and had a bad start to the second half, but we responded well, played, everybody that was in the book played, and everybody we brought, and it was a very fun experience playing in Municipal Auditorium, which is huge and has a ton of history in it, so it was a overall good experience.
And I saw Hollis Mitchell led the team in, I believe, points, rebounds, assists, and steals. It looks like he came ready to play last night.
I didn't realize that, but he was really good, and we were talking in the office. He was no doubt the best point guard, in the game last night. And they had a freshman point guard, and he just Hollis was really good at all portions of the game, and that's a testament to him right there, leading in our team in all categories. Pretty impressive.
And how does that factor into having to work that game into just your normal schedule, having the quick turnaround time? You've got one day off, then you've got Sterling, then one day off, then Tabor.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit tricky, only having one day in between a conference game, before a conference game. We had, for the exhibition games, we don't plan as much and prepare as much as we would for a conference game, so we'd already started preparation for Sterling, actually, so having that game in there, we just kind of shored up things today, and we're totally fine. I'd say in the game, we definitely kind of loosened up our bench a little bit and, played more guys just because you don't want to load our starters up too much, and
Right.
guys who are playing a lot of minutes anyway in an exhibition that doesn't count against us. So
Right.
it kind of allowed us, which is good, and everybody knew it, going in that we were going to play like that because we do in all of our exhibitions. So
Yeah. Well, it was an impressive performance. Now, rewinding a little bit to the one league game that we've had since the last Hoop Talk show, you guys went down to North Newton and played Bethel on Saturday, and that one, and you can tell me if I was reading it wrong, but I felt like I was watching the Kansas Wesleyan game all over again.
definitely.
The Wesleyan game, you guys fell down 10-0. It was 12-2 in this one. Spent the first half fighting back. In the second half, on multiple occasions, it looked like, just one stop and one basket, and you guys were going to take it and go. It seemed like, but then, that never came, and then ultimately down the stretch, it was anyone's game, and it ended up going the other team's way. Unfortunately, do you feel like there were the same issues present there as there were in the Wesleyan game?
Yeah, it was very similar. I mean, a little bit different as in we missed some free throws late against Bethel, and I think that really cost us whenever we were making plays and getting the ball where we wanted to, and then we missed 5 free throws down the stretch, which is atypical of this team because we shoot, as a team we're 75% free throw shooting team, which is really good.
Right.
So, but we've been harping to our guys. I don't know what we have to do to start the game well, but we aren't good enough to be able to catch up with any team in our league. And so if we're, have that slow of a start, which is what happened in both games, it's going to be tough for us to come all the way back. And we were able to come back in both games, but we were, obviously fell short in both games. And it just, they were really mirror images of each other. Both games were.
And what is that like as a coach? Because, if there's something technical that the team's struggling with, you can work on that in practice. If there's something in terms of, running specific sets, you can get more repetitions in. But when it comes to just coming out with more energy, what do you do as a coach to try and get that into the players?
Well, that's a great question. And so if anybody has the answer, can come to the office tomorrow. We've talked to our guys. What do we have to do? Do we need to change things up in the pregame? Has been something we've talked about a lot. I don't know if it's, both the teams that we didn't come out well against were at the bottom of the conference. So is it a thing where we just don't think we have to play hard or, be amped up to play against those teams? We don't know what it is, and I think we've been I know we've been, harping, hey, it doesn't matter who we play, we got to be ready. We're not good enough to not be ready. And I hope we can carry, we had a good spark and played really, really hard against UMKC. And so I think that if we can carry that momentum over, into Thursday and then into Saturday, I think that'll be, that'll definitely be a different start.
Yeah, and one thing that was a little different, it was really the first time I've seen this. I think doing men's and women's games all year, I've maybe seen a total of 3 technical fouls called all season. There were 5 in that game against Bethel. Things were getting a little chippy out there. Was that just some frustration just due to kind of going through the same thing again? Obviously, not all of them were on you guys. Bethel picked up a couple too. Was that just a close competitive game and then maybe some frustration creeping in on going through the same thing again, trying to fight back from a deficit?
Well, we've talked about it a lot. I think that there was one warranted technical in the game, honestly, and there were 5 in the game. It was one that made sense because one of our players on the court said something he shouldn't have. So the other ones were there was just some weird stuff happening. I didn't think, we actually talked about it today, we didn't think it was that chippy of a game. I mean, we've been in a lot more. They're well coached and they're normally, pretty respectful team, and there's no bad blood, I don't think, between us and Bethel's players or anything like that. So it was just, I don't know. It was a weird thing that there were that many that's the most technicals of any game that I've coached, I think, probably. So.
Well, I wasn't going to lead you down the road of officiating, but it was different referees have different thresholds for what they'll give the tech for, and that one, sometimes you don't know until you're out there, and then all of a sudden, they start to rack up a little bit. But it's good to know that there's no leftover hard feelings or anything between the two schools or anything like that.
Not at all.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and take our first break, and then we'll be back, and we'll talk about this week's upcoming opponents as we have games on Thursday and Saturday. You're listening to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show here on KOFO.
Confidence, passion, skill, knowledge. At Ottawa University, I've gained the strength to discover who I am and the confidence to be myself. I've met people from around the globe from different backgrounds and cultures, with opportunities to get involved and bring our passions to life with more than 30 clubs and organizations. We all come together into a faith-inspired community that quickly becomes family. I invite you to be brave like me at Ottawa University. Find out more at ottawa.edu today.
Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time. At Ottawa Family Physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive health care services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your health care needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620.
Napa know-how. Back at New Year's, you made a resolution to save more money. Just so happens, Pennzoil's family of oils are on sale starting at $3.49 a quart. So you can check Save Money off your list and bask in the glory of actually seeing a resolution through to the end. With the Pennzoil family of oils starting at $3.49 a quart. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 2/28/17.
And welcome back to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show. Of course, we are live on location down here in downtown Ottawa at Pizza Time, so you're welcome to stop by and join us and talk some OU basketball. We've got Coach Phil McClintock from the men's team, and then we'll have Coach Bruce Tate from the women's team coming up here in just a little bit. So we've kind of talked about the past week for the men's team, but we've got two big games coming up here this week. And first up on Thursday, you're at home against a Sterling team that you guys got the win on the road against last time you played back in early December. Has the team evolved any since then? Are you seeing anything different on film since that first time you guys played?
Yeah, they got one of their best guards back, the Williams kid, number 2, and he was hurt most of the first semester, and so they got him back, and he's a dynamic inside-out guy, and so definitely, that's probably the biggest difference personnel-wise. They're still running a bunch of different zones, doing the same thing offensively that they've done, but just having an extra player that's a good player back for them, kind of changes the dynamic there.
Right, and you mentioned having a couple of slow starts against teams that were toward the bottom of the conference. Right now, Sterling is at the bottom, but there's not a whole lot of separation between teams right now in the KCAC.
Sure.
Is there anything extra you guys have been talking to the players about to try and make sure you don't fall into that trap of coming out to a slow start again in this one?
Yeah, well, we're making it aware that, like we said earlier, there's no easy game in the conference. It doesn't matter who you play. You can't just show up and win. And so, hopefully, we're kind of expecting, the Tuesday's game actually to be a benefit to us, to where, hey, instead of, having 3 practices and then playing a game against a team at the bottom of the conference, we're, hey, we got game reps in. We played with, especially a half, but we played with a Division I team. So hopefully the confidence and everything can carry over, and we'll be ready to go against Sterling.
Yeah, and it's amazing how, after Tabor's kind of separated themselves at the top, but after them, it's amazing how kind of packed together the conference is. For you and the 2 other teams that are sitting at 500 right now, 2 games in either direction could put you half a game out of second place or on the outside of the conference tournament looking in. It's really a jumble in the middle, so this is going to be an important stretch of games here down the stretch as we end the season.
Yeah, it is, and it's, we have Sterling here, and then we go in and we have 4 teams at the top of the conference left, and
right.
We also have McPherson, so you're looking at this one's extremely important. We can't look forward to the next 5 games, because if you don't win this one, Saturday doesn't matter.
Right.
That's kind of where we're every game is extremely important where we're at, because like you said, if we lose every game here on out, we don't make a conference tournament. It's that important. And if we win every game from here on out, we have a chance of getting second place.
Yeah.
And so it's so tight that just every game's at the utmost importance.
Yeah. And is that tougher when it works out to where, you're playing the number 1 team of the conference, a top team that's ranked in the top 25? In the Saturday game with the short turnaround, you don't have. Is it harder to? Because you don't want to sell Thursday's opponents short, but you can't just spend one day prepping for the one of the top teams in the country either. Is that more difficult that way?
I don't think so. We have our system of scouting and preparing for opponents, and I don't think that it makes any difference, having them on a Thursday or a Saturday. I think we prepare the same for everybody.
And sitting at 500 right now, you've had a couple of disappointing losses, but a couple of big wins. You had the blowout win over Oklahoma Wesleyan. You got that big win on the road over Southwestern just a couple of weeks ago. So it's kind of been mixed results here recently. Do you have a sense of where the team's at in terms of their mindset going forward? Is it one of motivation or a little frustration mixed in there, or how's the team feeling with kind of the ups and downs here over the last couple of weeks?
Well, talking to people just day to day, that's what it is. It's a day-to-day process, and we can't get too high, can't get too low. You got to focus on the goal, which right now our goal is always at the beginning of the season to make the national tournament. And I firmly believe we've played with every team in this league to where, I really think that we can do that still. So, a short-term goal is we'd like to host a conference tournament game.
Right.
And that's in the realm of possibility. And if, we're playing well enough at times, and we've seen it, that we can do that, and we can, make a run here at the end of the season. And we just got to, there's no more. The season's so shortened right now, there's no more room for error.
Right.
And that's what we're just harping on our guys, is there's no more, hey, we let one go there. Because when you do that, and we've already done it so many times, that if we do it, too many more times, then it's just, there's no more room for error there. So.
And when you're seeing that ability of this team to compete with really anybody in the conference, what specific things are you seeing on the court that really make that difference and separate that, and that team that's capable of hanging in with anybody from that team that's dropped a couple games recently that probably shouldn't have?
Well, when we're firing on all cylinders, we have the personnel that can play with anybody, and I think the personnel that can win the conference tournament. And the problem with us is we're not talented enough to have one or two of our guys to have an off night and us to still win. And
right.
So we have to have all 8-9 guys that play be ready to play and play at a high level, and when we do that, we can beat anybody.
Yeah, and through no fault of his own, nobody is Superman out there. But Logan Bollinger had a rough start to the game, missed some shots early. Was that a little tougher for the team to overcome, just because he'd been playing so well recently, for him to come out and see some shots just rim out early on in the first half? Was that? Was it tougher to get the offense going as a result of that?
I don't think so. He had a tough matchup. They had a 6'3" guy on him, and it was strong and physical. And I think that they let the refs letting that contact go didn't play in our favor, because I think he got away with some stuff there. And Logan, obviously, I thought it was great, because we've had trouble this year, especially early in the season, getting Logan the ball, and the way he's been scoring. I keep telling him in practice, hey, you can't shoot enough. Keep shooting. And so for us, our teammates to have confidence in him, to throw him the ball, 5 times out of the first 6 possessions, or whatever it was. And, once, he started, missed a couple early, I think we just have to have somebody, recognize Titus, Hollis, whoever can recognize that, and them take over and make a couple shots and pick up Logan and everybody.
Right. And just to close things out with KU being in the news for some negative reasons here recently, it wouldn't be fair to ask you about KU's situation, but just something I was wondering, as a coaching staff, you guys don't just have the varsity team, you've got a couple of JV teams, you've got over 30 kids that you're in charge of, and, they're 19, 20, 21 years old. What sort of, how much do you, obviously, you wouldn't recruit the guys and have them on the team if you didn't know they were good kids.
Definitely.
But we all know the kids that age make some decisions they regret later on. What sort of conversations do you have with the team just to make sure that they don't end up in bad situations, knowing that, especially with them being on the team, it's going to be even more magnified if they get into any trouble?
Sure. I mean, we talk a lot about it, I'd say. It starts with, I played here and played under Coach Carrier, and Coach Siebenthal has a lot of the same principles in recruiting and in running a program to where we try to recruit the right guys, and that's where it starts. Recruit guys you can trust, recruit guys that are good people and have good character, and so we do that. We talk about social media, which you have to these days, I think. Especially with most of the guys that have their taglines as Ottawa men's basketball player. Right. And then they're retweeting and tweeting things that are inappropriate. Right. I mean, we really, we're big sticklers on that, just because, hey, you're an Ottawa basketball player. You're wearing our gear. You're portrayed as, when people see something that you do in public, it looks bad on us if it's negative, right? Right. And so in our team meetings, we have a team handbook. Talking about being a good person, and it really is a theme of ours, and I think you have to make it a theme in any program, just because, these guys, especially with, we have 35 guys on the team, like you said, they're going to be out in the community, they're going to be, seen as Ottawa basketball players, so we want that to be portrayed in a positive light. Right.
Well, it seems like you're doing a good job, because, nothing that I'm aware of has happened with any of the players, and, the few that I've had a chance to interview here on the show have all been fantastic to talk to and good young men. So
appreciate it.
Best of luck this week and moving forward. And I don't know if we'll get a chance to talk to you, or it'll be Coach Siebenthal again next week. But appreciate you coming on tonight and talking basketball with us.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take a quick break and then be back with the coach of the OU women's team, Bruce Tate. You're listening to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show here on KOFO.
Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
When it's time to get busy on Valentine's Day, celebrate your date the Trojan way. We got condoms galore, but wait, there's more. Buy one, get one half off at the store. Bearskin, Magnum, ends, whatever. As long as you're wearing one when you're together, just wrap it up, wrap it up. On Valentine's Day, make sure you wrap it up. Buy any 10 or 12 count box of Trojan condoms at your local Walgreens and get a second box of equal or lesser price half off with your Balance Rewards card starting January 29th until February 25th. Wrap it up, wrap it up. Trojan.
At Ottawa Family Physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive health care services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your health care needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620.
This is never easy, Sugar, but your position here has been made redundant.
What? Well, who's going to replace me? Oh, Splenda Naturals?
Well...
She's made with stevia. Come on. Stevia has a bitter aftertaste.
Hold on. Splenda Naturals is not bitter. She's as sweet as sweet can be and calorie-free.
So what, that's it?
No, we made you a cake.
With sugar?
Oh, no.
Goodbye, Sugar. Hello, new Splenda Naturals. For more information on how the Splenda brand does natural, visit splenda.com/naturals.
And welcome back to Pizza Time down here in downtown Ottawa. You got about 30 more minutes to come down and join us if you want to grab a pizza and talk some OU basketball. We're joined now by coach of the OU women's team, Coach Bruce Tate, and thanks as always for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. So last night I was calling the game between Waverly and West Franklin, and saw you there doing a little bit of scouting. How did that go for you?
Went great. Anytime I get an opportunity to get out to the game is beneficial. With me back running practices and things of that nature, sometimes it's difficult for me to get out, but we had a short practice yesterday. I only got on court about an hour. I was in the weight room for about 20 minutes, and which allowed me to get out to see Waverly, and out there watching Bailey is another Waverly recruit that we're pursuing and interested in bringing into the Ottawa family.
Right, and the whole Waverly team looked pretty good last night, and they've got that 6'3" center who's really hard to defend, especially at the high school level.
Yeah, Meter is a phenomenal athlete. She gets up and down the floor extremely well, and we won't have a chance to recruit her for basketball. She's going to play volleyball in college. So, okay. I think she's already signed and committed to the university she has chosen, and we wish her the best of luck. And you never know, man. Always return home and want to play again.
Yeah, and not necessarily specific to her, but just in general, when you're looking at a high school recruit who's probably a good 4, 5, 6 inches taller than anybody else out on the court. Some of that, they're just naturally going to block a lot of shots, get a lot of rebounds because no one else is going to be able to get away from them. How hard is it when you're scouting to try and differentiate between what they're doing or what they're accomplishing as a result of their size versus what they're accomplishing as a result of their ability?
Yeah, it's it's challenging at times, but. Excuse me. What we look for is their skill development. What they're physically able to do. With Meter, she's tall. Of course, she has a benefit over a lot of short players, but her ability to run the floor. She's very smooth. Her ability to jump. She has good touch around the basket. Probably where she would struggle at our level would be the physical part of the game. Mm-hmm. She's not a player that draws a lot of contact, when she's finishing, because she has the ability to play over a lot of players. So just watching what they do, on every possession, offensively and defensively, we really like to see how that translates to the game. Level of competition does have a player effect on that, but mostly, skill level is what we're eyeing when we're out watching those games.
Right. So moving on to the team for this year, you're coming off another win. We've only had one game in between last week's show and this one, but able to go on the road and got a I don't want to say an easy victory, but a comfortable victory down in North Newton. And despite the margin of victory, it looked, especially early on, just reading the coaching staff's we'll just say body language and the way they were talking to the team, it seemed like maybe not altogether pleased with the effort from start to finish or the execution. Maybe.
Yeah, we, and I explain this to the girls, is my vision for this group is to come out and continue to play at a high level, every possession. And, we were challenging, our seniors definitely the most in that game because they were making, some decisions when it came to offense or defense that we have been on them about. Mm-hmm. And they're able to get away with that in that game. But, come the stretch that we're preparing for, we're not going to be able to take off plays or make bad decisions in game or down the stretch to be successful. So regardless of our opponent, the preparation is going to remain consistent and remain the same. And I want our girls to have that mindset and that attitude every night we go out.
And obviously you approach every opponent with, the respect that anyone can come up and beat anyone on any given night. But do you think that was a case of just, being human, being young, just to maybe, that knowing the other team's record just kind of creeping into the back of their mind a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because also what I explained to them is that at times we really make this game look easy. And the beginning of that game, we made it look really easy, just with our ball movement, making shots. And next thing you know, we're up 10 to 12 to 0, and we want to relax. But that has been our forte, and I want to try to get us out of that pattern. So I had to grab their attention, as soon as I possibly could, and let them know that, hey, we're here to dominate. And, we set a goal, defensively not to allow them to score, over 40 points in this game. So you got to make small challenges like that when you're playing teams of that stature, and just to make sure we're staying competitive.
Right. And so outside of your game, something else big happened over the weekend, which was prior to Saturday, the team didn't control their own destiny because there were still 2 games separating you and Tabor from second place. But Tabor dropped the game to St. Mary, meaning that there's only 1 game's difference between you and Tabor sitting there in second place. Yep. And with a game against Tabor coming up on Saturday, that means that now you have that ability to go out and take care of business, at least secure a share of second place, if not more, knowing that there are still games left to play, more dominoes could fall. But yeah. Was the team excited to see that Tabor is now within striking distance with that game coming up? Yeah, they were actually following that game on their phones, play-by-play. I mean, Ashley was back there refreshing, and when it went in overtime, she's cheering for them. So they're definitely aware, of what's going on in the conference, and yeah, we are 1 game closer to them, but we've got a big task in front of us come tomorrow night. Playing Sterling too as well. Right, and we will go ahead and take a break, and then we will do some previewing of this week's 2 opponents. Once again, you're listening to the KOFO Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show. We've still got about 20 minutes to come down and join us here at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa. You're listening to KOFO.
Confidence, passion, skill, knowledge. At Ottawa University, I've gained the strength to discover who I am and the confidence to be myself. I've met people from around the globe from different backgrounds and cultures, with opportunities to get involved and bring our passions to life with more than 30 clubs and organizations. We all come together into a faith-inspired community that quickly becomes family. I invite you to be brave like me at Ottawa University. Find out more at ottawa.edu today.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Director Eric Price.
I think that there are a lot of misconceptions about cremation services for America today. A lot of people think that it's only a good alternative if money is an issue. Cremation in the end is a disposition. It's not a service. The funeral service that we're going to provide, whether you're traditional services or cremation services, is going to be essentially the same.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Home. Compassionate care when you need it most.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-445-6363. That's 1-800-445-6363. 1-800-445-6363. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
And welcome back to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show here on KOFO. Once again, I'm David Potter, and joined still by the coach of the OU Braves women's basketball team, Bruce Tate, and just got done talking about the week that's passed, and now we've got 2 more games coming up here in the next 3 days. And we were talking before the break about how important that game against Tabor becomes with only being within 1 game, but that game is no longer for second place if things don't go right tomorrow. So is it hard to kind of as excited as the team was to find out that Tabor dropped that game Saturday, is it hard to get them to, kind of put that to the back of their minds and really focus on the task at hand?
Yeah, it really is. So, Sterling is not a team that you want to overlook. Man, they can score the ball. We just got named, the Tabor-Ottawa game just got named National Game of the Week. So we're, getting the media attention and all that stuff too as well, and that's already out there. And of course, I haven't said anything about us receiving votes, being in the national polls about I haven't said one word. I'm all about the preparation and getting ready for game by game. So. But they feel it. I think they're ready for that game on Saturday to go there and beat them. But we really do got to take care of Sterling, and dealing with some sickness and things of that nature. We're not going to be at full tilt, so we're going to have to play some really good team basketball to knock them off tomorrow night.
Now, back in December, you were able to get, I think it was a 5-point victory on the road against Sterling. But it seems like Sterling has kind of come on down the stretch, has improved as the year has gone on. Have they changed anything they're doing fundamentally, or just gotten better as the year?
Yeah, they're just playing better. Jess Prince in the middle is scoring the ball at a high percentage. Solowski coming off the bench, her numbers are going up. When I was doing a scouting report earlier this week, you've just seen improvement, by every player, even kids off the bench. So they're really consistent with those 9 players that they play, and they're just getting better as a team. They're still struggling defensively, but when it comes to the offense, they're very dangerous, very similar to Oklahoma Wesleyan. They don't shoot the 3 as well, but they penetrate and got an inside present, and they do some really, really good things on both ends of the floor.
And do you have, obviously your team prides itself on defense. You're the best of opposing field goal percentage defense in the KCAC. Is that would you rather face a team that's more offensive oriented or one that's more defensive oriented, given the team your team's makeup?
Definitely offensively, because that is so inconsistent. Because our defense can control, what their offense does, and for us, we've been more successful with teams that give up some points, just because we got some potent offensive scorers, but when it comes to our bench, that's where we get a little bit in trouble. So if one of our scorers is off, gets a really good defense, then we can find ourselves in a dogfight. And that happened at Sterling. Ashley, we won a game with Ashley scoring 1 point. Right. They did a really good job on her defensively. So we're really going to need, our execution on both ends of the floor to be fairly consistent throughout the game to be successful.
All right, and speaking of your bench players, you've had Jessica King has really seemed to come on since I'd say maybe since the holiday break, and really seems to have developed some confidence offensively. She gets that ball near the top of the key or at the elbow. She's more than willing to take it to the rim and seems very good at just finding an angle to get it, especially in off the glass, and draws some fouls. And we weren't seeing that as much out of her in the first half of the year. As something clicked for her in terms of the offensive end of the game?
Yeah. She was very frustrated there at the beginning of the year just because she wasn't playing up to her potential. And, when you have kids that want to be so successful, you got to find what they're really good at and just breed that into them. And that's what we were able to do as a coaching staff, is just put her in positions where she can be successful. Mm-hmm. And to get her to stay in that role and focus on that role, then she's going to be a much better player for you. What her issue was, she was worried about doing everything, becoming a starter, scoring and defending and all that stuff. And she's not that type of player yet, Right. So we really wanted to focus on her strength, put her in positions where she could be successful. And she's really taken off with that, with this, I wouldn't say a new role, it's just that it's an accepted role. And she's, having a lot of fun with it, as I can tell.
Yeah, and it creates some matchup difficulties because she's at 6 feet, and what she reminds me of is a little bit Perry Ellis from KU, in that he could, he was 6'8", he was a power forward, but he had the quickness and the ability to drive when he got the ball up around the free throw line, and then just had that same natural knack for, whether it was a spin move or just using an up and under move, whatever it was, just being able to create that angle and find that way to get the ball into the basket. She seems to have that same knack, and I don't know if that's something she's just developed recently or if that's always been there.
Yeah, it's definitely been there. I mean, that is why I recruited the kid, is just because of her length and her athleticism. Like I said, she's the quickest player on our team. She's one of the most athletic players on our team in the conference. She's very difficult to guard at that 4 or 5 spot with the ability to put it on the floor, and her strides are so long. I mean, You just can't recover. And down at the Southwestern, the coach would think she was traveling. I mean, she's only one of the players that can get to the rim from the elbow with one dribble and make it look so smooth. So, she's a matchup nightmare. She's her, the only person that can stop her really is her, when it comes to stopping her, because if she gets some momentum and she sees some space, and if she's focused on what she needs to do at the end of that shot, she's a very, very scary matchup for any team in our conference.
All right, well, we will take one more break, and then we'll be back with the last segment of the Pizza Time Hoop Talk show. You still got about 10 minutes to come down, join us, grab a pizza, and talk some OU basketball. We'll be here until 8 o'clock, and we'll be right back with more OU women's basketball talk here on KOFO.
Ottawa Family Physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive health care services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your health care needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Director Eric Price.
I think an important part of what our staff can provide is that everyone in our staff has been affected by death. Everyone's lost a loved one in their lifetime, so they understand the grief process. They understand how difficult it is to move on from a loved one after they've passed away. Because of that experience, they're able to relate to the fact that everyone grieves differently, everybody struggles at different times.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Home. Compassionate care when you need it most.
Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
As the morning sun peeks through, work is already emailing you. It's 8 a.m. and they got your soul. You're stuck in a morning work black hole. And if you don't respond quick, the promotion goes to Nick. And he's a sucker. When your morning is hell, just go to Taco Bell.
And for just $1, let us make you breakfast. Like the grilled breakfast burrito with eggs, bacon, and cheese wrapped in a warm tortilla. At participating locations, served during breakfast hours. Prices may vary. Tax extra.
And welcome back to the final segment of the Pizza Time Hoop Talk show. Again, we're here in downtown Ottawa at Pizza Time, and we're talking to OU women's basketball coach Bruce Tate, and we talked about the Sterling game and obviously how the team can't overlook that, but once you get past that, like you mentioned, it's the national game of the week. You've got the Tabor game coming up on Saturday. And when you guys played them in Wilson Fieldhouse, I mean, that was a dogfight right down to the very end, and there was a call that on a particular play down the stretch that some referees might call and some didn't, and that one did, and that kind of turned the tides a little bit. But does the team feel like maybe that one got away from them a little bit at the end?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a coaching staff, as players, you never want the officials to become a part of the game, and there's times where, officials make bad calls and you're upset about something, after the game, and you feel that they weren't part of the game. It's just, that's basketball. It's reality. It's going to happen. But in this situation, in this game, I think, the official definitely made himself part of the game, and he's reffed tons of our games, and he knows that Ashley Romick will not intentionally push anyone at any time in a game, and that was really frustrating, and it went from a 3-point game to a 7-point game within 30 seconds or so, and that really took a lot of air out of us, and we weren't that team back then that knew that we could dig ourselves out of a hole. So it was really frustrating to end that game that way.
Yeah, and just to explain what we're referring to, there was a battle for a rebound where I don't know which player it was for Tabor, but she and Ashley were both going after it, and the Tabor player tugged on the ball, and Ashley tugged back, and the Tabor player ended up hitting the deck, but it was just looked like two players going after the ball, which anyone who was listening to that broadcast knows that's the way I felt about it. But yeah, there were, at least the team knows that, I believe you guys had the lead with just 3 or 4 minutes to go in that game prior to that. So at least the team knows that there's no reason to be intimidated by this Tabor team, that they've already hung right in there with them once. Yeah,
absolutely. And if there's any two teams that know each other extremely well, it's us and Tabor. I mean, Coach Reed and I, we run similar styles of offense with that 3 out, 2 in high-low stuff, and we got some horn sets, and he got his favorite sets. I have my favorite sets, and so we know each other extremely well. And just the history of last year's game at the championship game and losing that one, and in that situation, we know each other so well that you're exactly right. It's a dogfight, and they're usually low-scoring games, 30s, 40s, and just trying to grind it out. So, man, it's I'm looking forward to it, definitely. But man, this stretch totally just this week, next week. I mean, on down the stretch is just going to be a tough road for us, and looking forward to seeing what we're going to be capable of here these next few weeks.
Yeah, and that'll be a subject for next week's show. But obviously, you've got Friends coming up right after Tabor, and that's whoever made the schedules didn't do you any favors having you guys playing back-to-back, obviously, on both ends of the schedule.
Yeah.
But is Friends even a consideration right now, or is everyone really focused on these two games?
Yeah, ultimately your goal with the conference regular season is to finish in the top 2. That would give you a chance and an automatic bid at the national tournament. If you finish in second, then Tabor or Friends or Ottawa, whoever's in first, needs to go win the tournament to guarantee that second place finish to go. So you just want to play out the cards right, and put yourself in the best position to go play for a national championship, and that's what we have our eyes set on right now, and we're just trying to play ourselves in the best position in that top 4 to get a home game that first round, and see what happens after that.
All right. And I'll close things out on it, and I asked Coach McClintock from the men's team this. I'll ask you too, just because there's been some negative press surrounding the KU basketball program with some disciplinary problems lately, and it seems more and more widespread around college sports in general. Knowing that you've got so many people that you're in charge of, and knowing that they're 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, and they're prone to making some bad decisions. What's your philosophy and approach to just other than obviously making sure you recruit the right players, just making sure that they continue to know what the expectations are and don't stray from that?
Yeah, and it does start with recruiting, but you don't find out everything in the recruiting process. So what we try to do when we get our kids here on campus is spend a lot of time in the classroom talking about how they want to represent themselves. Then we talk about how you want to represent Ottawa University, their parents, and then our program. So we really spend a good hour and a half throughout the week really getting our kids to write stuff down on paper so that they're remembering what they're committed to. And that will, try to prevent them from making bad decisions And our number one team standard is don't do anything to let your teammates down. You know, so that's what we live by. That's our philosophy, and our kids have bought into that. You know, we haven't had to deal with really nothing this year, which has been awesome. But in the past, you know, one or two things pop up each year. But this year has been a blessing with our kids, you know, off the court.
Yeah, and it's easy for, I think, fans especially to just see the players as players and forget sometimes that they're kids going through the same things that everybody goes through when they're 20, 21 years old, and that's not always easy. So it's a testament to the coaching staff that you're able to keep everybody focused on what the goal is.
Information and entertainment in East Central Kansas. KOFO K279CS Ottawa.